How is it going, everybody? Nick Marro, DFS here with DFS Jayhawk and Occupy Fantasy. As always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slates on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Pretty good slate tonight. Some big games as far as like playoff positioning, MVP races, all that good stuff. Only 6 games on both sites though, and they are kind of staggered. So the slate starts at 7. Late games are included on both sites. Jayhawk, what are your initial takes coming into this one?
Yeah, man, it should be a fun one. Great basketball, I think, tonight. Bunch of really good matchups. So, very excited to break this one down. We have Luca versus SGA, so should be a very fun one to break down there.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun. We'll talk about some stars and scrubs builds. Excuse me. We got a lot of value today, guys. Let me know. I think the microphone's fine right now. I know yesterday with Eric on, I guess I was quiet. I wasn't looking at the chat because he was hosting, so I didn't know until after the fact. So sorry about that. But hopefully today we sound good. But shouts out to Ben getting in here early. HB cards as always. We got Heath, Doug G, our buddy here. How many minutes do we think Kelly O gets tonight? As always, guys, we'll go game by game. We'll definitely talk about Kelly O in a little bit. Jose on a cold streak right now. Going to turn it around tonight. Yeah, no better night for it, man. I've been juggling MLB. Only 2 games on the MLB slate, and they're late, so really keyed in on NBA today. Shouts out to Drones. HB saying Nick at Night is back. Indeed, my friend Derek Wilson. Ant is out, and thank you, Cards, for playing producer here, letting us know that the mic's good. That definitely is a good way to start the show. Appreciate all you guys getting in here early. We got a few games at 7. Actually, by a few, I mean 2. But first, let's talk about the Timberwolves taking on the Pistons in Detroit. 223.5 point total. Detroit, slight favorites here at home, and both teams are missing their best player. We just got word that Anthony Edwards is going to be out here. He's been out for a few games. Jaden McDaniels is going to be out for a little while. He's injured here as well. So, yeah, I think first and foremost, Julius Randle is going to look really solid here. Obviously, the defensive front court for Detroit is decent, but increased usage for Randle goes a long way. Rudy Gobert looks okay here, priced about where he should be. Really interesting play, though, is Ayo. I mean, this guy has been playing out of his mind since McDaniels has gone down. 4 straight games over 40 fantasy points for Dosunmu. I don't know that he even did that on the Bulls when they had guys ruled out. So really, really impressive showing from him. And I think we can say now that they won that trade for Poison Ivy since he's been released by the Bulls. But he looks really good here. Shocked he's not getting more love, especially on DK. But again, kind of stars and scrubs tonight. Some of these mid-range plays aren't going to get the ownership they deserve. You can mix in DiVincenzo. I much prefer just going to Ayo or even Bones as a punt. I don't know that he's necessary tonight, but we also have to mention Naz Reid with McDaniels out, another guy who's probably going to run into a few minutes. If there are core plays for me here, man, it's definitely Ayo first and foremost. Randall, kind of a 1B, but I don't know that I'm going to get him into too many builds if I'm going through stars and scrubs. How do you feel about these Timberwolves here on the road?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely better for the Minnesota players here with Anthony Edwards out now. Like you mentioned, I'm with you. I think Ayo looks great, both sides here. Julius Randle, like the past couple games against Detroit, hasn't been the best in terms of shooting. I think he's pretty solid here. I don't know if I'm going to prefer him over the other spend outs we're going to touch on, but I think he's okay at his price. And then I do like Naz Reid, a good chunk in tournaments. I like the price point. He's also probably going to have to shoot a lot here with no Anthony Edwards. So a lot of these guys are more tournament flyers for me, Nick, but definitely better here without him.
Yeah, these teams did play, I think, a few nights ago. Ayo was out for that one. Trying to look at game logs here. It's like really strange how they've been kind of resting guys. Gobert pretty much at value. Randall and Nas both had pretty poor nights, though. I don't know if that game was a blowout or what, but it is worth mentioning. And then Bones, again, we talked about a little bit. He had a terrible game as well. So they struggled here last time out. Probably has a chip on their shoulder here, so hopefully Minnesota keeps this one close. On the Detroit side of things, already mentioned, no Cade Cunningham. Marcus Sasser is available, I believe. No Isaiah Stewart, which is going to kind of thin things out in the front court there. For Detroit, Denise Jenkins has been excellent in the absence of Cade. But now that he's priced up, he's kind of tough to prioritize. At the same time, I do think he's playable. But it's definitely Jalen Duren, if you can afford him, who you want to get to here the most. Even against Gobert, I do think he's pretty appealing here. He did have a floor game in this matchup last time out, but I don't want to look too deeply into that. I think point per dollar, he's one of the better center plays on the slate, and he is expensive. So probably a good tournament play. I don't know that we're going to call him a core play. The guy I like the best here, and it's kind of gross, is Tobias Harris on DK. Only power forward eligible now. They took away the small forward eligibility over there, which makes it a little bit tough to get to him. But he's seen a ton of usage with Cade off the floor. Duncan Robinson's back. It's going to cut into guys like Herter and LeVert. So I'm really not too interested in the secondary pieces. But I don't mind Durant in tournaments. I do like Jenkins, but again, these mid-range plays are kind of tough to get to. If I'm getting to anything here, I think it's Tobias Harris more than anything, though. How do you feel about Detroit?
Yeah, pretty much on the same page here, Nick. Tobias, I think, looks fantastic as well. Probably my favorite point per dollar play here. Yeah, and then I'm with you. I think both Duran and Jenkins, good tournament shouts. I think they both could have good games here in tournaments. So I'd probably go Jenkins, then Duran with Gobert on the other side. But yeah, fine with all three of those guys. Would you have any interest in Paul Reed here if you did expect Duran to struggle?
Honestly, no. We have a lot of good value centers on this slate. He had 28 fantasy points in 16 minutes against them last time out, but I don't know. We're going to talk about Cornette. We're going to talk about even Robert Williams as a backup. We got Diabate in this next game. I just think there's enough centers that are cheap that I'd rather get to. And it's not like Reed's min price anymore. Like if you want to play him on FanDuel, he's 6'2", so he's unplayable there. 4-3 for him over on DK. I just don't know that 15 minutes is enough for me to want to roster.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just want to throw him out there just because.
Yeah, it's a name that comes up. I do think it's worth mentioning. And Minnesota does run big, so maybe he could play a few more than the 15 we have him projected for, but we do have a lot of good centers here. Shouts out to Unicorn joining in here as well, saying Cornet, baby. We'll talk about the Lunicorn in just a bit. Before we do, though, we got another game at 7 p.m. here on the East Coast. We got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Charlotte Hornets, 225.5 point total, starting with Phoenix. Mir Coffey's going to be out. Mark Williams sounds like he'll be back tonight. No Haywood Highsmith. So this is one of those teams that's getting healthy right now, gearing up for the playoffs. With Grayson Allen out, I was playing a ton of Jalen Green and Booker. With Grayson Allen back, it's kind of tough to feel great about them. Throw in the return of Dylan Brooks as well, and it's just tough to really prioritize anything on this team. And it's a tough matchup as well. Obviously, Charlotte's been playing excellent defense. Man, this might be the team I'm the lowest on tonight. I do think they could keep this game competitive. I do think guys like Booker and Green have upside, but at their prices, just nothing too appealing to me. How about you when it comes to the Suns?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a tougher team to get to, like you mentioned, with all those guys back. Even like Devin Booker, I like the ownership. I don't love his usage now potentially. So to me, it's mainly just Booker. And then that's about it. Mark Williams coming back, he probably doesn't even play enough to be in consideration. So, yeah, mainly just Booker here.
Yeah, also opposing centers have really struggled here against Diabate and these Hornets. For the Hornets, PJ Hall, a few G Leaguers are listed here. Nothing really significant as far as injuries go. LaMelo's been playing well. This is a good matchup for him. He's probably going to be capped around 31 minutes, but the upside's there if you want to get to him. Brandon Miller's taking a slight step back lately, but I do think he's fine at his price, as is Concanuple, as is Bridges, as is Diabate. All the starters look okay, but it's tough to really say one stands out ahead of the others. I think point per dollar, Diabate looks good, but he's kind of inconsistent, not always involved on the offensive end, even when he's playing good minutes. The best guy lately for fantasy purposes has been Kobe White coming off the bench. I do think he's fine to get to here, especially at very low ownership. It is a good matchup for him, but just keep in mind, the minutes for him haven't been great. He's just been so efficient when he is on the floor running that second unit that he's hitting value at this price regardless. I do think it's kind of thin playing a ton of him, though, just because if he's not going to play 22-plus minutes, he really needs to shoot lights out against a good defense to get there. I'm fine mixing him in. Again, I'm fine with all the starters, but this is another team where I can't really say there's one core play for me. Jayhawk, how do you feel about Charlotte here?
Yeah, I'm pretty neutral on them as well. I think my two favorites are Con and LaMelo. I like the spot for the shooters here overall. So I think I'd probably choose Con as my favorite here. Your boy here, Nick, I think I like him in tournaments. So yeah, I like Con. And then LaMelo, I was talking to you pre-stream. I want to play him tonight, but we're going to touch on Luka and SGA. I think I prefer other spend-ups on this slate over LaMelo. So that's kind of my take here overall.
Yeah, I'm with you. And as good as they've been playing, in terms of real basketball, team basketball, it's kind of cut the upsides. If you go through the game logs for all these guys, you're seeing 30 to 40 fantasy point games, which at their prices is fine, but they're really not carrying you up any leaderboards right now. Obviously, there could be outliers, so I don't completely ignore them, but tough to get to much here. Just a game between two healthy teams. Let's jump ahead now. So we have those two games at 7. Then there's a big gap. We're going to have to wait, right? The next game on the slate is going to be the Lakers taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Very fun game here between Luka and SGA. Obviously, starting on the Lakers side of things, Thunder are favored at home, 232.5 point total. Dalton Connect is out. Marcus Smart is out. Other than that, really no significant injuries on the LA side of things. Luka looks good, man. 15.1 OF index rating, drawing no ownership at all. Sub 10% on DK, sub 5% over on FanDuel. I get that he's expensive. I get that he's kind of struggled in this matchup, but OKC hasn't seen divorce court Luka yet. So this is a different guy right now. He's totally locked in. I do think at low ownership, it's someone you want to get exposure to for sure. I think point per dollar, he's a little bit difficult when you're comparing him to guys like SGA, to Denny, who we'll talk about, Randall with no Ant now. There's a lot of good payups on this slate. But to see ownership that low and just looking at what he's been doing lately, 75 points against Cleveland, 64 against the Nets, 63 Indy. I mean, he had a floor game against Detroit where he's scoring 56 fantasy points. He's been over 60 very consistently, the most consistent of any of the payups. I mean, other than maybe Wemby lately, but I'm shocked he's not more popular. I do think we see the ownership come up if we get a little bit more value to open up in some of these other games. But Luka, to me, one of the best tournament plays on the slate, and he's a full OF index point higher than SGA. Again, the value score is not as good as the other payups, but if you want raw points and there's enough good value on the slate, I do think getting to more Luka makes sense. Reeves is good, as is LeBron. They're priced about where they should be, but again, both very, very low owned. I have interest in all three of these guys. That's really it, though. And Luka, to me, definitely stands out ahead of the others, given the price points. Even with him pushing 13K on FanDuel, he's under-owned, in my opinion. How do you feel about the Lakers here?
Yeah, a couple of things here to address, Nick. We're going to see Lou Dort versus Luka Doncic tonight. That should be fun to watch. And then second, how many raw fantasy points do we think Luka scores? That's kind of how I think you want to play Luka here. If you think he can get to 65, 70, which I think he can, he looks like a fantastic play here. So love him in tournaments for that upside. And then, yeah, for the rest of the team, Reeves, LeBron, Aiden, I don't love any of them in particular. I guess LeBron would be my favorite here as a second play. But yeah, it's mainly just Luka here, man. I love him in tournaments.
Yeah, and again, he's had kind of shaky performances against his team this year, but we're going back like months, like November, I think was the last time they played with Luka active. Just kind of scrolling through the game logs here quickly. So yeah, don't look too deeply into that. I do think he's a good play in tournaments, but again, if you're playing one lineup, maybe you can't prioritize him at that price. I understand it. Over on the OKC side of things, Alex Caruso's questionable. Nothing else significant there to really talk about. They do have Jalen Williams back. Hartenstein's back in the lineup. This is a healthy team. They're going to handle this, or they're going to treat this tonight like a playoff game, in my opinion. SGA now the front runner for MVP. He's been playing really well lately. Obviously, fine getting to him. Excuse me, I'm like burping as I'm talking, chugging this stupid energy drink. But obviously, I mean, he's easier to get to just because of the price point. He's almost 2K cheaper on both sites. I do like him a lot here. At the same time, his presence is kind of cut into the upside of everyone else. Jalen Williams' price over on FanDuel at 6,700 is tempting, but we've yet to see him hit 30 minutes, I think, since he's returned from injury this month, or back in February. So really just SGA here for me. I think you can make a case for the others. Obviously a good matchup for the front court. With Hartenstein returning, I think Chet's slightly overpriced. I'm not crazy about getting a Hartenstein, given all the quality value we have on the slate. I think some people will be interested in Dort at his price, but he's out there to play defense. I don't know how involved he is on the offensive end. He probably need to hit a few threes. So I don't think it's crazy, because I do think he plays more than the 22 minutes we have him projected for, especially if Alex Caruso gets ruled out. But at the same time, that usage rate could be in the single digits. So it's mostly just SGA here for me, man. But I do like him a lot. How do you feel about OKC here at home?
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I think SGA looks great. Nick, this is assuming he gets, 20 free throws a game, like he always does here. But yeah, I think he looks great here up top. And then in terms of the rest of the team, Jalen Williams, Hardenstein, I think they're both fine to take stabs at. Definitely prefer Jalen Williams, though, at the price point. So yeah, it's mainly just SGA, stab at J-Dub here on FanDuel.
Yeah, one more name I'll just mention is AJ Mitchell coming off the bench. I think he's cheap enough to mix in. There was a stretch where he was starting. He hasn't been lately, but he's still been pretty productive. In any minute that SGA isn't on the floor, he'll be out there. But if you're playing SGA, you don't want any AJ Mitchell. But not a terrible option if you're not getting to SGA in lineups. But again, mostly just SGA there, mostly just Luka there. But those two should go at it tonight. Really fun game to watch, certainly. Let's take a look at chat here. Douglas, let me scroll up and make sure I don't miss anyone. Appreciate you guys obviously tuning in. Leon starts 3K. Leon who? I think we're jumping around here. I don't know which game we're talking about. Leon.
Is he on the Warriors?
Am I missing something?
Maybe not.
Matt, oh, for the Warriors? I don't think he's going to start unless Keith Santos is out. We're about to talk about that game, though, so we'll touch on that. Doug saying he couldn't agree more. I think we're talking about the Luka ownership. Jayhawk Militia shuts out Hot Billy, complimenting you on your good looks, taking shots on Dort and Joe. Yeah, Joe's an interesting one. Like, I'm not crazy about it. He's kind of buried on the bench right now. I don't know that he has a path to 20 minutes because they have SGA healthy, they have Mitchell healthy, they have Wallace healthy. They're all ahead of him. And then McCain has been getting a few minutes here and there. He's kind of taken a few minutes away from Joe. I don't want to play any McCain, but it's just something to keep in mind. Shouts out Power here. Let us know that Mark Williams is confirmed in. Don't know that we play him. And then, yeah, it does seem like a Mitchell game for Golden State. So we're getting some comments on this next game here. So let's just get right into it. 10 p.m., we got the Cavs taking on the Warriors. Starting with Cleveland, no Dean Wade, no Jalen Tyson, nothing else really significant. Otherwise, they did just get Jared Allen back recently, who is cut into the upside of Evan Mobley. Allen himself only playing 18 minutes in his first two games back. So I don't really think we could play Allen, honestly. It is a good matchup for this team, though. You can make a case to get to some Mitchell here, maybe some Harden or Mobley. For me, though, just another team getting healthy. And on these slates where we have value, it's just tough to get to these spots because most guys are priced efficiently, pretty much where they should be. Again, you can take tournament shots on the big names here, but there's nothing I'm prioritizing at all from Cleveland. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, Nick, definitely nothing that stands out here, especially with Allen back. It just kind of muddies up the big rotation with Mobley as well. So to me, it's mainly just Harden and Mitchell. I like the spot for them in tournaments. I wanted to get to Mobley. I just don't know if I'm going to get there with Allen back here. So, yeah, to me, it's the guards. And then one last shout here, Max Strus getting some love here on both sides. I don't think he's the craziest play. But, yeah, that's pretty much it here for the most part.
Yeah, I don't mind the Strus shout. Obviously, he's shown that he has a ceiling if he can get hot from three. If Merrill starts, though, I do still prefer Merrill just because the minutes are a little bit safer. They're both very dependent on that three, though, so good tournament plays for cheap, but very low floors for both of those guys. But on a kind of limited slate, they're probably worth mixing in. Warriors now, Seth Curry's questionable. Steph is out. He should be back soon, though. No Jimmy Butler, no Al Horford. DeAnthony Melton and Guy Santos both questionable. No Moses Moody or Quentin Post. So this is a tricky spot here. This is a spot where we're kind of waiting on some news, right? One thing we know is we're probably going to see Porzingis back in the starting lineup tonight. He has not been playing more than 30 minutes, but he's been really good when he's out there. I do think point per dollar, he makes some sense. At the same time, kind of overowned a little bit, in my opinion, especially against a really solid front court defense. So I'm not rushing to get the KP, even though the model likes him at pretty high ownership. I will say he'd see a slight boost here if Guy Santos is out. Gary Payton has kind of been my guy lately, even coming off the bench with no Moody. Point per minute, he's just been really solid. I don't mind mixing him in. At the same time, I do think he's risky. And then we kind of have to wait and see on the rest of this team. If Santos is out, someone mentioned, who was it here? Malavi Leonis. And he had a great game against the Spurs last time out, but pretty sure that was just because it was a blowout, right? I don't think we're going to see that again here tonight. If he were to start suddenly for Guy and maybe Draymond got ruled out or something like that, sure. But keep in mind, Porzingis, I believe, sat last night as well. He's back tonight. So there's not necessarily minutes for Leon's, and I can kind of confirm that because he's not even in the model. So unless we get a few guys ruled out, I don't think he's really something we'll be seeing here again. But again, no real priorities for me. I honestly think Porzingis is overowned. I do like Gary Payton a little bit, but the price is up on him, Jayhawk. Any love for the Warriors here?
Yeah, Nick, Kristaps was definitely one I had to look into more because 7K on a pretty interesting slate with spend ups is, kind of interesting to see him this chalky. So I'm fine with Kristaps. I'm with you, though. He does seem overowned for this particular matchup against Cleveland here. So I'm with you on that. In terms of the rest of Golden State, Melton and, Gary Payton, you mentioned, I think they're both fine to take stabs at. But yeah, it's mainly just coming in underweight on Kristaps here and a couple of stabs here at the value for the most part.
Yeah, one more name I'll mention just because he is very low owned is Pods. If this game stays close, he's probably a big reason for it. He only played 17 minutes last night against the Spurs. Obviously, that game got out of hand. But his 5 games prior, over 30 minutes, over 35 fantasy points in all of those. So Pod's honestly a little bit underowned, probably. Not a guy I'm ever rushing to get to at this price. But if he's going to stay sub 5%, he's someone you can mix in as a tournament play. Another game we have here at 10 p.m., maybe a little bit better for fantasy. We get the Pelicans taking on the Blazers in Portland. 233.5 point total. Blazers are favored here at home. Starting with the Pels, Trey Murphy's questionable. Obviously, that's significant. We already know that we have no Carlo Makovic or Bryce McGowan. So if Murphy's out, it's going to pretty much benefit everyone. Murray would see a little bit of a boost. Bay, Jones, even Zion would see a boost here as well. But if Murphy's in, it's tough to call anything a priority. I will say DeJounte Murray, even not getting to 30 minutes is kind of been the most consistent of this group, but we haven't seen a big spike in his upside lately. So he's tough to get to where he's priced. Sadiq Bey, I would much prefer to have Murphy out. He'd probably become my favorite. And then Zion, as talented as he is, it's been weeks, almost months since we've seen a true ceiling game out of him, regardless of who's available. So I'm pretty comfortable not playing much Zion, especially if Murphy's in. If Murphy's out, I do like Bey a good amount. Herb Jones is going to be too cheap here as well, but you and I were talking a little bit pre-stream. It's going to be interesting to see what the starting lineup here looks like tonight. Portland is a team that runs big. They have Klingon, obviously. When he's off the floor, they go to Robert Williams. So this could be a spot where Missy actually gets some good minutes. He played 31 against Houston, another very big team. And then Derek Queen, he's back to playing 20 minutes per game per night. He's a little bit more popular than I thought he would be. But if we get word that Murphy's out, I'm pretty comfortable mixing him in. Just keep in mind, we have cheap Missy, we have cheap Queen, but Herb Jones has played some minutes at the 5. He's been more productive and more consistent than both of those guys. Just to throw this wrench into the gears here, DeAndre Jordan has started in this spot a few times. So I'm hoping we don't have to deal with Jordan at all here, honestly. For now, no real priorities for me. Sadiq Bey, probably my favorite play. But you could make a case for Missy or Queen. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Pels?
Yeah, Nick, I really wanted to get overweight on this team. I think they're kind of getting overlooked. It's just very difficult to really know without knowing Murphy's status here. But if we do get him out, I think both Murray and Zion are going to look better. And then, yeah, I'm with you on kind of the center situation. It could go a lot of ways. If it goes the Jordan way, I think I'm probably less interested in all the centers. So kind of dependent on that starting lineup there. Yeah, it's mainly Zion and Murray here. Kind of hoping we do get Murphy out here.
Yep, and we talked about how Makovic is out. That will benefit someone like Queen and or Missy a little bit there as well. Kind of secures a few extra minutes for them. But again, if Murphy's out, these guys will become more appealing. But again, to me, Bay would be the one I'm rushing to just because we've seen the upside from him. A lot of these guys just haven't been hitting the ceilings. On the other side of the ball, we have the Portland Trailblazers. No Jeremy Grant. That is significant. Obviously, no Dame. Still no Shady and Sharp. Vic Krejci is out. Yang is doubtful here. Denny looks excellent. This is a really nice matchup for him. He's been playing pretty well in competitive games. He is consistently getting over 30 minutes. His price has come down a little bit on DK. He's now sub 9K over there, so 60% owned. Great matchup, though. I think it's really tough to kind of argue with what he's capable of. Other than that, it's tricky. I love playing Klingon on a slate like tonight where we're going more stars and scrubs. Those guys in the 7 to 8K range are tougher to get to, so I'm really not rushing to him there. He's been a little bit shaky lately as well in terms of both the minutes and his production, but that has kind of benefited Robert Williams slightly. I do like him on FanDuel, where you can play him at power forward. I don't think I want to use the center spot up for him here tonight. And then the other guy I think we have to talk about is Scoot Henderson. He's been starting alongside Drew, playing much better lately. Still not getting over 30 minutes, though. I like Denny here. I think he can make a case for the rest of the starters. Even Kamara, sub 6K makes some sense. But as much as this game looks good on paper, just no priorities for me here, really, Jayhawk. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Denny, like in cash games, he's very tough to avoid. I think in tournaments, you could probably make a case to get off him a little bit with all the great spin ups. So that's kind of my thoughts there with Denny. And then in terms of the rest of the team, Scoot and Kamara were the ones I was getting the most of. I think they both look great, especially in non-Denny lineups. And then I love the cling and shot man, especially if you're lower on Denny. I think he makes a lot of sense in tournaments. Robert Williams wasn't getting there on DK, but I like the shout there for FanDuel. Good price point, forward eligibility. One last name I'll throw out there, Matisse Thybulle, if you needed like a complete punt with like a Luka and SGA build, I don't think that would be a crazy shout. So I think it's a pretty good team overall, Nick.
Yeah, Thibel's interesting. He's the type of guy I don't like playing. He's like Lou Dort, essentially, right? He's out there for defense. He's going to play minutes. Kind of needs stocks to get to value, but he has been doing it lately. I don't think it's crazy. So I'm fine if you're desperate for the value and you need to go there. Let's take a quick look at chat before we get into this late game. Uh, Contract incentive for Leon's like, okay, we're getting a lot of this conversation here. Let's see. Yeah, Struce starts. Struce is not going to start. I don't know where you saw that. I would be very surprised if he does. If he does come back tomorrow, man, and I'll hold the L, but I would be very surprised if he's starting here. And yeah, Leon again. They're on a back to back. Last night, a lot of these guys sat. Tonight, I don't think he's going to play minutes. Maybe he plays 10. Maybe you're right, man. And if he is, you can definitely collect all our entry fees here. But I just don't trust him necessarily. But yeah, you guys continue the conversation. If you have a gut feeling on a player and we're saying we don't love him, hey, we're not always right. If you like a guy enough, go ahead and play him. But again, I think with Porzingis back in the lineup tonight, it's going to be tough for him to repeat what he did. And again, that game kind of got out of hand. So I don't know. It's tough for him to get there. But enough talk about like the 11th guy on the Golden State team on their bench here. Let's get into this late game between the Spurs, who are also on a back-to-back. They played the Warriors last night and the Clippers here. Biggest news on the slate. We already have it. No Wemby. Wemby's been outstanding. Really huge stat line last night. I think he had 75 or something fantasy points, ridiculous like that. Tonight he's out, though. No one else significant is going to be out, but what that means is it's going to benefit every single other player on the floor. First and foremost, Luke Cornett probably going to get the start here. We had questions about Kelly Olynyk. Honestly, I don't really trust Olynyk. I don't know that he even plays 10 minutes because the team they're playing here in the Clippers doesn't really have a backup center. They have Brook Lopez, we'll talk about in a minute. I actually like him tonight. But they have Cornette and they have Olynyk, but I don't know that Olynyk needs to be out there much. We're going to see some small ball from the Clippers. John Collins might get some minutes at the 5, maybe Batum even. But really, this is not a big team they're facing here, so it's kind of interesting. Cornette, if he starts, is one of my favorite value plays on the slate. If he doesn't start and they go small or they do something weird, I don't know, they get Barnes in and have Champagny at the 5, something stupid like that, which is possible. I would be careful with Cornette. But as things stand right now, excellent value play, 20 DK value rating in the model. He's up there on FanDuel as well, pushing an 18 score. Just looks really, really solid. Devin Vassell, just too cheap on DK, obviously scoring dependent, but we have him going over 30 minutes. Fox is fine. Castle looks great. Champagny, he's another guy I want to see him starting before I'm playing him, but he has been getting the nod lately over guys like Harrison Barnes. And then Keldon Johnson, out of nowhere, pushing for 6th man of the year. I'm fine mixing him in here as well, coming off the bench. If this game's competitive, he's going to be a big reason for it. Better on DK, but on FanDuel, a little bit lower owned, where he's slightly more expensive. Could play him at either forward position. I like the Spurs here, man. Cornette's my favorite as long as he starts. Then it's probably Keldon second. I like Champagny. I like the guards, but it's tough to kind of pick between the guards like tonight. So I like the Spurs, man, but make some sense of it. Which of these guys are your favorites?
Yeah, Nick, definitely with you, first of all, with Cornette. I think he should be the safest here, point per dollar. So love getting into Cornette. And then after that, I think it's kind of where it's interesting. We have a couple guys here, Champagny, Vassell, Keldon. I'm just going to rank them. I think I'll go Vassell, Keldon, Champagny, but I think they're all like super close. And then in terms of Fox and Castle, another like tough question, I think I would probably go Castle with no Wemby. I think his shot attempts and stuff should go up here. overall usage. But overall, I think it's a really good team to target. We kind of talked pre-stream. Would you be okay letting four San Antonio players run here?
What'd you say? What was
Would
the
you be
last
okay
one?
letting four San Antonio players like in one lineup?
Four is tough. But yeah, if they're the cheap guys, like if you have Cornette, Vassell, Champagne, Keldon on DK, I think that makes sense. You could throw any of the guards in. The minutes for Fox have been kind of shaky. I do slightly prefer Castle, but I think either or is fine. The Harper ownership's interesting to me. Like if we know he's going to play 24 plus minutes, I really really like him. We have him at exactly 24, but yeah, I think four is fine if you're getting a four. I don't think you need four. I think there's probably two ish that you want, but yeah, four is not crazy. Right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like flock to get to four, but I think I'm with you. I think three probably would be the optimal route if you can get to that.
Yeah, and again, that is kind of dependent on the starting lineup. If they do something weird and we don't see Cornette in there, proceed with some caution. But I think we're going to see Cornette start. And on a slate where we don't have a ton of value, we're trying to pay up for the Lucas and the SGAs of the world. They're kind of necessary, right? On the other side of the ball, we have the Clippers. No Brad Beal, but also no Isaiah Jackson or Niederhauser. So you look at their front court depth chart. Brook Lopez is going to start at center. He has been playing really, really well, honestly. Over 30 fantasy points, 5 games in a row now, in spite of some difficult matchups in there against the likes of Portland, Toronto, his former team Milwaukee a couple times. So you know me, I'm the captain of the Brook Lopez fan club, former Net, still the all-time leading scorer for the Nets, which is absolutely insane. I like him though on both sides. Honestly, you can play two centers over on DK, just get both centers in this game. Having no backup is going to secure his minutes. I think as long as this game's close, he's going to play more than 30. And yeah, he's been playing well. On FanDuel, he's just so low owned that I think he's fine to mix in. Other than that, it gets tricky. They do have Garland and Mathurin available, which cuts into the upside of Kawhi, but Kawhi at his price is fine. It's just we haven't seen the huge ceiling games out of him lately. John Collins' minutes have come up a little bit. I don't mind mixing him in. Derek Jones. But yeah, it's like Mathurin and Garland were their price. Like I'm really not crazy about them, and it's kind of interesting to see how low the ownership is on Mathurin. He's been kind of spotty lately, but I don't think it's crazy. It's like a dart. But again, just to summarize quickly, I like Brook Lopez maybe more than I should. Admittedly, somewhat biased there. I don't mind mixing in the other starters. Collins would probably be next for me. A part of that's just that he has power forward eligibility. Weird team here, getting kind of healthy. How do you feel about the Clippers at home?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like Nick, typically I'm not super high on Lopez, but I think you brought me into it. Like no backup center against San Antonio here, so I like him here in tournaments. I think he's a good tournament play. Kawhi, I really got to take a stand on here because I don't really have a super hunch on him. I think he's okay. I think I'd rather get to Denny, obviously, for like 600 cheaper, but fine with Kawhi in tournaments. Yeah, and I think you put it great on Garland. Like, he seems a little bit overpriced for this slate, and same thing with Mathurin. So, to me, it's mainly Kawhi and Lopez, but I think I bought in Lopez, dude. I'm with you tonight. I love him.
Yeah, one more name I'll mention. If maybe you're kind of waiting for some news or you have Cornette and he doesn't start and you need value, Jordan Miller is the backup point guard. It's not really Chris Dunn. Like Chris Dunn's playing more minutes, but they're putting him on the wing a little bit. So Miller will be out there whenever Garland's not. And he sees decent usage. So if you need value, I don't think Miller's crazy. By no means should you be rushing to get him in, but he's someone who could be useful if maybe the news doesn't break the way you're hoping it will. So let's take another look at the chat here. Shouts out Swerve, 65 watching, only 13 likes. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Please do it. Keeps this free content coming out to you on a regular basis. Minutes projection on Plumlee. I don't even think we have him in the model, do we?
Good old Mason Plumlee.
Or I spelled it wrong. Yeah, I don't think he's really a thing. He's with the team. They have a bunch of backup bigs, right? They got Cornette, who I think starts. They also have Olynyk. They also have Biombo. They also have Plumlee. I don't trust any of those three backups. I don't think any of them play enough minutes here. And again, they don't need to stay big. Like either you have Cornette out there when Lopez is out there. I think they will. They'll kind of mirror them. And then the backups just don't need to be out there if they're going to play Batum or Collins at the 5. So for me, maybe one of them goes off. Maybe Cornette gets in foul trouble. But there's just not a clear path for any of the backup bigs, in my opinion, there. Was very high on Miller before the Spurs value hit. Yeah, I mean, Cornette, he could mirror him because, yeah, Lopez does hang out around the 3-point line at times. It's an interesting matchup. Appreciate you being involved here, Doug, for sure. But, yeah, getting a lot of the Spurs, it sounds like, kind of makes sense, especially if you're paying up in a big way. Stan Chet is Wemby tonight. It's a great matchup for him, but I don't know. With SGA out there and Hartenstein returning, cutting into his rebounding upside, I don't know that I feel great about that. But let's go ahead and get into the dummy bill, man. Where are we starting? I think Cornette first, probably, as long as he starts. 3,400 is going to be tough to get away from. Which other Spurs are we prioritizing? I think Keldon's been pretty safe-ish lately.
I like Keldon, yeah. I think he's my favorite.
Keldon?
Yeah, Keldon.
All right. And then as far as payups go, are we trying to jam Luka with SGA? Are we just playing SGA? SGA and Denny might be the most logical way to go. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's tough to put Luka in like one optimal lineup, so let's just go Denny and SGA. Yeah, I like that.
Yep, I'm totally fine with that. Denny has small forward eligibility, and I think power forward eligibility today. They keep changing his position every single slate. Looking at power forward now, this is where maybe we talk about playing another Spur. I think Champagne at his price looks pretty good. If we do get word that Murphy's out, Derek Queen is going to see increased ownership. I don't mind mixing him in. For now, maybe Champagne's the safest unless there's someone else in this range you really like.
No, I like Champagne or I like Queen too, so I like both those guys.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. We got 6,200 per. Looking at guard, I don't know. Ao to me is kind of the guy I think we need.
Yeah, low-owned AO. I think he's low-owned. Maybe not. We have to fresh, but no,
Yeah,
I like
AO
that.
at 67 makes sense. 2 spots left, around 6K per. Like I said, I think my move is to play both centers. Call me crazy. If we get Lopez in, we're left with 6,700 for a forward. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, our favorite
Yeah.
Pelican here, Sadiq Bey. I think that looks good. Obviously better if Murphy's out, but any qualms with this one here, man? I think this is a really good lineup.
Yeah, and especially, if we do get that Murphy news to break our way, it's going to look even better.
Yep, and if we get word that Cornette's not starting, again, you could slide Lopez into the center spot, play something else at value if you don't feel good about Cornette coming off the bench. But give yourself some flexibility. Again, we have the 2 early games at 7 Eastern, then a 2.5-hour gap before the Lakers OKC game, another game at 10, 2 games at 10, and then one at 10:30. Just keep that gap in mind if we're still waiting on news. Obviously, things could change really quickly. Going over to FanDuel now. I mean, center, I'd still be fine playing, what's his name? Cornette if he starts. But is there anyone else you really wanted? Like, I kind of think he's the guy.
Yeah, I think Cornette. Let me just double check here. You could go Kristaps. We both don't want him. Yeah, I think Cornette's probably the guy.
Yeah, I think Kristaps is a fine play. I honestly think he's a little overowned, though.
Yeah.
All right, which payups are we getting to here? Is it SGA again? And
Yeah, we can go SGA. Yeah, he's fine. I did kind of want to get to Vassell in a lineup as well.
We didn't get to Vassell on DK, but he's even cheaper there. We probably should have, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, I do like Vassell over here as well. Is it Denny, or do we just kind of find the value first, I guess?
Either one.
I do want Ao again, no matter the price. I want to find out where he's at. 7K feels a little thin, but he's just been so good. Honestly, I'll throw him in. Who else do you like?
Let's go. Let's get some more Portland exposure. I guess. Did we get to Scoot in the other build? Maybe we get to Scoot here. Do we have any point guard slots?
No. We could play him, though, and then I could put Ao in at shooting guard.
I like that. Yeah.
Let's see here. All right.
Forward is. I liked Queen, I think, is good. Is he cheap over here? On FanDuel?
Who'd you say?
Derek Queen.
Queen.
Is he cheap?
Let's see. 49.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. I don't like that, Nick. That's too expensive.
What else we got down here? I mean, Nas is pretty cheap. Williams, like I said, is forward for whatever reason. I don't think that's terrible. We probably need another Spur. I think we're throwing Keldon in somewhere.
Keldon.
We got a lot of salary left. I mean, is it Denny that we want next, or?
Denny's probably the cash game play. Yeah.
Yep. I do like Tobias Harris. He's another guy. Same as Vassell. We probably should have got those two in over on DK, but I do like him. Kamara, we mentioned.
Kamara, yeah.
I mean, Champagne, if he starts, is fine. We're getting pretty heavy now on the Spurs, though. So let's go ahead. We'll pay up to get a little different with Harris here. I don't think it's crazy. Again, I'd rather play him on DK, but since we forgot him, he's fine. And then Bridges, honestly, like, he's not the first guy I ever want to get to when it comes to the Hornets, but he's like 2K cheaper than the rest of them. So we see these 4 games in here, but 40-plus fantasy points against the Nets. He can spike that ceiling. And if you don't like him, you can pivot to Collins, Kamara, Green, upgrade something else. But you guys kind of see where we're at now. Taking a look at chat here. Yeah, we did the FanDuel lineup. Appreciate you guys. Is Missy viable? Yeah. Again, Portland's going to play big. Missy's going to play minutes here tonight. So, yeah, you could get to some Missy. The floor is always low with him, but definitely worth mixing in. I believe that's it. We got Smitty in the Discord taking you guys up until lock. Again, be very mindful of the gap between the games here. No better time to get behind that paywall, though. MLB starting, bunch of sports going on. Continuing to grind through the end of the season and into the playoffs. This time of year gets very fun for the NBA. We had a fun slate last night, another decent one here tonight. Some really good real basketball. Looking forward to that OKC LA game. But Jayhawk, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, just one more shout here. I know Brian mentioned earlier. Make sure to go like and sub to the UFC Occupy channel as well. You guys are on the come up, so make sure to get over there for this weekend too.
Yeah, good call there, Jayhawk. Yeah, Brian started a new UFC-specific Occupy channel where he's posting shorts, breakdown of the main events and co-mains. And if that channel gets some traction, I might be able to bring back the full card breakdown shows that we were doing earlier in the year. So get over there, subscribe to that channel as well, like and comment on all those videos. Let's get the algorithm working in our favor here. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Another fun night of sports here. We are into April. Time really flying through this NBA year. Playoffs right around the corner, but like and subscribe on your way out. Have fun. Take care, and good luck.
Thank you, guys. Best of luck.